Hey guys, happy Friday, and I'm back again with a quick intro to this video review that's gonna follow on my Timex in the glow intelligent quartz Flyback GMT quartz watch. And it's a really good watch, highly recommend it. But the first 2 minutes of this video will just be me playing around the watch, showing you guys how the Flyback works, the GMT, the in the glow, and the lume. And after that, the full video length will follow, a full detail review on the watch. My wife actually saw one of my videos and she was like, "Oh, what the hell, man, your videos are really long, they're 20 minutes long. And if you could just do it shorter." But I figured some people like just a short snippet to see the details of what the product is, how to play around with it. Some people want full details and advice and what to do, if to buy, whatever. So you get the first 2 minutes just showing you the product, and then the full video will follow. So stay tuned and watch the video and enjoy it, guys. Highly recommend the watch. It's a really great watch. And Rich check, I'm wearing my Speedy Friday. It's raining. It's a little rainy outside over Central Park behind me, but enjoy the video, guys. Bye. So, saving the best for last, I'm going to finally talk about my Timex watch, which is a weird watch, and I had to buy this watch when I found out it existed, because the features on this watch, to get the same, give you an idea of how rare and just weird, to get the same features on this watch in a mechanical or automatic watch, you'd go from paying, I paid under $200 for this watch, it retails about $250, maybe less, depending on what you get. You go from $200 price range to $2,000, I'm sorry, to $20,000, maybe $5,000 for a used one, but that's how unusual the features on this watch is. It is a GMT as well as a Flyback chronograph, a full Flyback chronograph that keeps chronograph time for up to 4 hours. It's very interesting, and it's a Timex quartz in the glow watch. It's just weird to say that in one kind of paragraph. You know, Timex, weird complications, $20,000 watch. You never talk about that. So I've been wearing this watch for a week. I did the unboxing a few days ago. I might have put that on YouTube, I'm not even sure. But today we're going to take a closer look at this watch. I've worn it for a week, and overall I was very, very impressed with this watch. And if you're not a watch person and you just want a functional watch with a story to it, maybe an unusual feature that you could talk about at a party, get this watch right now, because you can get one of these at under $100 at Walmart or Kmart. They sell these watches. It's just blowing my head to think, and I think a lot of watch people who are very watch snobs, and they talk about, oh, the fancy complications. Timex is doing the same thing as those $20,000 Patek Philippe's in a $100 watch, a $200 watch. So it's just interesting. I had to do this review. I only bought this watch, and I wouldn't keep it because I don't want to have too many quartz around my house. Because as you all know with a quartz, you do need a battery every 2 years. And I'm not about replacing a battery, especially in this watch. And I'll tell you why. So let's clear my desk out of the way and take a closer look at this guy. Do some measurements. So you see my desk is a bit of a mess. I just did a review on that watch there, my Seiko Mecha Quartz, and I'm trying to get out of my office, so I'm trying to rush home. So let's just take a closer look at this watch. It is really beautiful. It comes in so many variations. Timex really kind of, I think, I don't know, the intelligent quartz watch with a flyback chronograph, just Google that. It's about maybe 50 variations of this watch in bracelets, straps, colors, what have you. Now, speaking of bracelets and straps, let's do some measurements, and I'll tell you why this watch has a sweet spot to it. So it measures, I'm very excited about this watch, guys. It's when you get a rare watch in your 43, it's about 43 across. Yeah, when you get a rare watch to talk about, it kind of gets exciting instead of like your boring Omega, Rolex, or watch reviews. I mean, how many reviews of a Submariner are you gonna see? So it's about 13 thick, and it's about 20 lug width. Now, it wears a lot smaller than those numbers on this caliper suggest. I have small wrists. I have 7-inch wrists, and it wears very comfortable. It's also a very, very lightweight watch. It's not heavy at all. It's half the weight of my Omega Speedmaster, believe it or not. My 38 millimeter diameter Omega Speedmaster weighs twice as much as a 43.3 Giant. It's very lightweight, and it's almost looks like take your son to work day, you know, father and son kind of watch. It's weird, but it's very lightweight to wear. I have 7-inch wrists, so I think this watch is going to fulfill a sweet spot for people with wrists like mine, 7 and below inches in circumference, who wants something comfortable to wear, not too bulky, not too big, not too heavy. It fits that criteria. And if you a big guy and you have big wrist and you can't wear anything below 42, and I think 42 is sort of a point for most people, this is a watch to get. I mean, this watch will look good on big wrists and small wrists as well. Now, the 20-inch millimeter lug width is a sweet spot because that's a sweet number, sweet width to get for NATO straps and different bracelets. It's a universal kind of size. Is a nice size to have on a watch if you want to get rid of the straps. Now, my first negative, speaking of straps, is this says genuine leather. I did the unboxing. You guys saw when I took it out of the box. This is not even leather. It's just like a foam material, like a sponge material that you wash your car with. It's almost like a spongy foam, painted brown on one side, or I don't know, like covered with something brown there, and it's not genuine leather. It says genuine leather. It's not. My next gripe, I'm just going to go into the gripes because it's right in front of us right now, is this case back. It is 100 meters water resistant, which is good, but the case back is not screw down. It's a snap on, snap off case backs. And if you've dealt with those types of case backs, you realize when it comes to time to change the battery, which is going to be every 2 years, it's going to be a nightmare to get this off and back on whilst keeping the water resistancy of this watch. You probably want to take this to a jeweler with a Sorry guys, my camera died while I was shooting, so it overheated, so I guess I had to stop it. So anyway, you would take it to a jewelry to get that battery replaced, which could be expensive if you want to keep this watch in a long term. I don't like snapback case backs because I've dealt with them before when it came time to changing batteries, and I do not like them. So moving on to the front, so let's get right into the features, guys. And I had time to clear my desk, so I got rid of all the clutter while I was waiting for my camera to cool down. So the watch is a little quirky at first when you look at it, but I've come to find in the week of using this watch, it is very easy to use, very easy to understand. And I wasn't expecting that. And it makes total sense once you use this watch after a day or so. So the only negative I have about the dial is the way the date window is displayed between the 2 and 3 o'clock. It's just a weird angle. It's just awkwardly placed there. It's like floating between the Timex logo, the 2 o'clock and the 3 o'clock. It's just like floating. It looks kind of cool, but it kind of looks weird. It doesn't match up with the rest of the watch. So I would actually prefer no date window, actually, if you ask me, than I have it placed there. Now let's get right into what you guys are clicking play to see. Let's see the chronograph function as it works. So let me just orient you guys to the watch. So the date window is there between a 2 and 3. Between a 3 and 6, you have the minutes for the chronograph timekeeping. And between a 9 and 12, you have a 24-hour GMT that's independent actually from the local time that you set your watch to. So you could set that GMT to any other time zone, and it has no correlation with your hour hand or minute hand. It could even be set to its own minute and hour for the chronograph GMT, which is what a true GMT watch is. Most people confuse a 24-hour subdial with a GMT subdial, but it's not. Or even a watch that has multiple time zones for a GMT watch, those aren't. But when you could set your GMT to its own time, minutes and hours, that's a true GMT. And that's a very expensive complication as well, as you find in a Rolex GMT, as many GMT mechanical watches. So that's what lies in that 9 to 12 subdial. And it's weird how that's just, it's like a big subdial, but you only see an arc of it, the way it's designed. In that subdial, you also have the hours for the chronograph, which is 4 hours. It goes up to 4 and then it resets itself back to 0. Or I'm sorry, it stops. It doesn't reset. It just stops at 4 o'clock and it stays there until you reset the chronograph. So let's just start the chronograph and get that going. Very spongy. There's no click to this button here. So the upper pusher starts it. And you see there it's a sweeping chronograph function, which is interesting. It's a 1/5 chronograph, so it looks to the naked eye that it's sweeping, but it's actually going in 1/5 of a second increments. And you can see compared to the ticking seconds there where it's 1, 2, 3. So that's going 5 times for every tick there. So it looks like it's sweeping, but it's not really. So to pause it, you press the upper pusher there, and you can reset it. And I initially was thinking this was a mechanical mecha quartz, maybe a variation of a Seiko mecha quartz. It's hidden in here, but it's not. And this is why, because look at the chronograph when you push it to reset it. It doesn't flip back, it just slowly glides back to 0. Most of the mecha quartz and the mechanical chronograph, they snap right back to that 0 reset position. And then you could start it again. And let's try, I'll show you guys how the flyback works. And like I said, it's really easy to use. So as the chronograph goes around, you count your minutes here. This is the minute keeping for the chronograph. So it goes from 0 to 10, then back to 0. It snaps back down to 0, and then it starts again to 10, then snap back down to 0. And as that goes, every, I guess, 60 minutes here, you get 1 hour marked off there. And that sweeps as well. That goes with the chronograph. So it goes from 1 to 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours there. So it's really easy to use. And that's pretty much it. I just explained the whole watch to you guys. It's not as complicated as it looks, but it is a head turner when you wear this watch. And it's the crystal you can see there, it has a bit of a dome to it, so it's really beautiful. And I like this black, it kind of picks up a bit of fingerprints, but I like how it's matte finish with polish there, and the case back is steel. So I like the black ion, I think is what they call it, finish. It's like a military looking watch, but it's very comfortable, very dressy at the same time. So let's show you guys how the chronograph flyback works. So as the chronograph is moving, you'd hit the bottom pusher to fly it back. And it just goes back to 0 and starts again. That's a chronograph flyback, or flyback chronograph. That's what a flyback chronograph is, and a lot of people confuse it with the flipback chronograph. So like something like my Mega Speedy, I initially thought this was flyback chronograph, but it's not a flyback chronograph. So I initially confused this because I thought the flyback function of a chronograph was the flying back of that hand there, the second keeping hand for the chronograph, but it's not. It's the ability to reset your chronograph and start it with 1 push of 1 button. So there you go. And it starts the timekeeping again. So like if I have 2 races going, I'll show you guys maybe one scenario where you use a flyback chronograph. So I have Megan runs, and she starts her run. I have maybe Megan, Bob, Bruce, and Jacqueline lined up. So Megan's going to go first. And Megan's going to run. And Megan is kind of slow, so we're going to watch Megan on the clock. Megan's going to be about 15 seconds. So Megan's going to come in. She crosses the finish line. And at the same time, Bob is going to start running. Oops, I messed up, guys. So, okay, let's try that again. Let's reset it. Sorry, guys. So Megan runs. And Megan's going to be really quick for me because I'm running out of time here. So Megan runs. Megan's going to get 10 seconds. And Bob is going to start right after Megan. So I got Megan. Megan gets 10, maybe 11 there. Bob is starting to run. So see, instantaneously, I could start tracking Bob without having to stop, reset, and do all that. So Bob is going to cross at 15 seconds. And then Jacqueline's going to run now. So I got Jacqueline right there. As soon as Jacqueline starts, Bob comes in the finish line, Jacqueline's going to start. Now, who did I say? Bruce. Bruce is going to be really quick. So Jacqueline just finished. Now Bruce is going to run. Bam! I got Bruce as he starts. So as Jacqueline crosses, Bruce starts. I could catch Bruce's time exactly. Now I could look and record Jacqueline's time as well as the others. But, and now Bruce is finishing. That's my last runner. I could pause it. I could reflect on the time that Bruce ran. And then I don't need my chronograph anymore, so I could just reset it there. And that's basically what a flyback chronograph is and how you'd use a flyback chronograph. Pilots also use it for different things, and military folks use it for different military and flying applications, aviation applications and military applications. But that should give you a basic scenario where maybe civilian would use it. But like I said, there's been also controversy in the watch world where people think the flyback chronograph is a useless function compared to a rattrapante or split-second chronograph that times 2 runners at the same time. So like if Bob and Jacqueline were running at the same time and Jacqueline finishes and Bob is still running, I could still keep track of both runners at the same time. So that's what a split-second or rattrapante function of a chronograph is. And but the flyback, it serves a purpose. It looks good. Not much I could say about it. The only quirk about the chronograph flyback, it doesn't flip back. What you'd want your flyback chronograph to do is like flip back, like how my Omega flips right back to 0 and starts again. Here, it just glides back. And because it glides back, it compensates for the time it takes to glide back. So I'm going to start it when it gets to 30 seconds. And you see what I mean. So when you start the chronograph back in the flyback from 30 seconds, you'll see it compensate for the time it takes to fly back to the 0 reset by not really going back to the 0 reset, but it might go to 3 or 4 second marker. So look at the chronograph second hand very closely as I hit the reset. So you'll see it won't go all the way back to 0. It goes right there to 2 seconds. So that's just saying it took like about 2 seconds for it to go back from the from where I reset it from. So it accounts for that, which is actually really smart. It is a very intelligent watch, and I'm sure it's, it's something that's in there that's compensating for that. So that's really cool. So you'll see it again. So it won't go right back to the 12 o'clock or 0. It goes right back to 2. And that's it, guys. That's all I could say about this brilliant watch. Like I said, if you were to buy this watch with the same features and you want a mechanical, the next best deal you would get on this watch is the Bell Ross BRV 126 Fly GMT SCA, and that's about $5,000 to $6,000 used, $10,000 new. And anything above that, you're looking at $20,000 to $25,000 for these features on a mechanical watch. So it's a very interesting watch, and I highly recommend you guys go out and get it if you're interested in watches. That's it, guys. See you guys next one. Bye.